He cheated. I knew. And I waited. Not because I was weak. Not because I was afraid to lose him. I waited because sometimes the smartest move is not to react. It is to watch. It is to learn. It is to let someone believe they are safe while they slowly destroy themselves. That was the kind of man he became. Safe. Comfortable. Careless. We had been together for 4 years. For long years of sharing a life, sharing bills, sharing plans, and sharing a future I thought was real. When we first met, he had almost nothing. He had charm, confidence, and dreams, but very little stability. His job changed often. His business ideas failed more than once. There were months when I paid the full rent without complaining, working extra hours to cover other bills. I helped him rewrite job applications. I stayed up late helping him prepare for interviews. I defended him when other people said he lacked direction. I believed in him before his life made sense. And that, in the end, was his biggest luxury. At the beginning, he used to look at me like I was the center of his world. He would hold my hand and tell me I was the reason his life felt calm. He called me his peace. He said I made everything better. Then his life got better. And suddenly, peace was not enough for him anymore. The change did not happen all at once. It started in small ways. He began keeping his phone close all the time. He took it into the bathroom. He turned it face down at dinner. At night, I noticed the light from the screen under the blanket. His attention was somewhere else, even when his body was right beside me. The first time I asked him about it, he laughed. Not a nervous laugh. Not an awkward laugh. A careless one. He told me I was imagining things. He said I thought too much. Then he kissed my forehead like I was the problem and went back to his phone. That moment stayed with me. But because of how easy the lie came to him. 2 weeks later, I got the proof anyway. He had fallen asleep on the couch with the television still on. The room was dark except for the flicker from the screen. Then his phone lit up on the table. A message. Her name. A red heart. That was all I needed. I didn't wake him. I didn't shake him. I didn't ask who she was. I simply picked up the phone, took his hand, and pressed his finger to the screen. It opened. And in that moment, my whole relationship split open with it. The messages were not vague. They were not coded. They were bold. Confident. Plans to meet. Private jokes. Hotel bookings. Pictures. Voice notes. Promises. Things he once said to me, now copied and handed to someone else like I had meant nothing at all. What hurt the most was not just that he was cheating. It was how safe he felt doing it. He wasn't hiding carefully because he didn't think he had to. He believed I would always stay. He believed I was too loyal, too invested, too tied to the life we had built to ever walk away. That night I sat in silence and read everything. Then I made a decision. I would not confront him. Not yet. The next morning, I made breakfast. I poured his coffee. I kissed him goodbye. I smiled like nothing had changed, and he smiled back relaxed, sure of himself, completely unaware that his life had already started falling apart. That was important. He needed to feel safe. Because arrogant people become sloppy when they think they have one. Over the next few weeks, he got worse. Much worse. He stopped deleting messages. He started using money from our shared account for dinners, gifts, and hotel stays. He would come home late and act annoyed if I asked a simple question. Once, I asked why our grocery budget looked strange, and he told me I was acting dramatic over nothing. So I stopped asking. That was when the real work began. Every night, after he fell asleep, I collected what I needed. I took screenshots of his messages. I saved the bank records. I recorded the dates. I organized everything carefully. Every lie had a place. Every transfer had a timestamp. Every message had context. The more comfortable he became, the more evidence I gathered. I also started rebuilding my own life without him noticing. I opened a new bank account. I moved small amounts of money over time so it would not attract attention. I searched for apartments during my lunch breaks. I signed a lease for a small place across town. I started packing my things little by little and leaving boxes at a friend's house. He noticed nothing. That was the beauty of it. People who underestimate you rarely see what matters. Then, one evening, I heard something that changed everything. He was in the kitchen on the phone with one of his friends. I was down the hallway, quiet enough not to be noticed. He was laughing. Not the fake laugh he used with me. A proud laugh. A happy one. Then he said it. Next weekend. I'm finally doing it. There was a pause. Then he added, it's going to be perfect. Rooftop. Lights. Everyone there. I stood completely still. He was planning to propose. Not to me. To her. And not in private. Not quietly. Publicly. In front of friends, co-workers, cameras, and city lights. He wanted a big moment. A perfect memory. A night people would talk about for years. That was when I stopped feeling hurt. And started feeling focused. If he wanted a stage, I would give him one. But not the stage he expected. The next morning, I contacted the event planner for the rooftop proposal. I told them I was helping him prepare a surprise video to play after she said yes. They loved the idea. They said it would make the moment unforgettable. I agreed. Then I sent them the file. During that final week, I kept everything normal. I did not argue. I did not cry. I did not accuse. I let him walk through the apartment like he was untouchable. I let him believe he was beginning a beautiful new chapter, when in truth, he was walking directly toward the end of the old one. The morning of the proposal, I moved out completely. Every dress, every book, every photo frame, every piece of furniture that belonged to me was gone. By noon, the apartment looked empty. Cold. Strange. Like a place already forgotten. That evening, he dressed like a man who thought he was about to be admired. Dark suit. Fresh haircut. Expensive watch. He looked polished. Proud. Almost radiant. Before he left, he turned to me and said, I'll be home late tonight. I smiled and said, okay. That was it. No fight. No tension. No warning. Just a calm goodbye to the version of him that still believed he had control. After he left, I did not stay home. I went to a quiet cafe with a good view of the city. One of my friends was already at the rooftop party. She had promised to keep me updated. I ordered coffee and sat by the window like I was waiting for weather to change. In a way, I was. My phone vibrated. They're all here, she wrote. A few minutes later, he's giving a speech. I could almost see it in my mind. The lights. The smiles. Her standing there glowing with excitement, thinking she was being chosen, thinking she had won something. Then another message arrived. He's on one knee. I took a sip of coffee. Then came the next message. She said yes. I set the cup down and looked at the screen for a long moment. Good. Now the real show could begin. A minute later, the lights dimmed on the rooftop. The planner announced the surprise video. Everyone turned toward the giant screen, expecting soft music, sweet photos, and a polished little love story. Instead, the first image appeared. A screenshot of a message he had sent me. You're the only woman I will ever love. The date was clear. The rooftop went silent. Then the next slide came up. A bank transfer from our shared account. A large amount of money spent on one of the same weekends he had claimed he was away for work. Then another. A hotel booking. Then another screenshot. Another lie. Another promise. The room stopped breathing. Then the voice note played. His voice filled the rooftop speakers. Clear. Loud. Smug. She'll never leave me, he said, laughing. She needs me too much. That was the moment everything broke. People gasped. Heads turned. Phones rose into the air. Some started recording. Some stepped back. Some just stared at him like they had never seen him before. And maybe they hadn't. The screen kept going. More messages. More dates. More proof. He had lied so much that all I had to do was put the lies in order and let them speak for themselves. He tried to stop the video, but by then it was too late. The planner panicked. His friend grabbed his arm. Someone dropped a glass. The woman he had proposed to stood frozen, her face drained of all color. Then, very slowly, she removed the ring. No screaming. No tears. No scene. She simply placed the ring back in his hand. That silence was worse than any slap. My phone buzzed again. My friend sent 3 words. No one is moving. I leaned back in my chair and looked out at the city lights. For the first time in weeks, I felt calm. Not because I had one. Because it was finished. Later that night, he returned to the apartment we had shared. It was empty. No couch. No pictures. No shoes by the door. No trace of me in the bathroom, the bedroom, the kitchen, or the hallway. Just a hollow room and the echo of his own choices. Then the calls started. One after another. I let the phone ring. Again. And again. And again. By morning, there were voice notes, long messages, and missed calls stacked on my screen like a pile of panic. He said I had ruined everything. He said I had embarrassed him. He said I could have handled it differently. But that was the funny part. I had handled it differently. Quietly. Carefully. Completely. Within days, the engagement pictures disappeared. Friends stopped calling him. At work, people looked at him like they were seeing him for the first time. Not the version he created. The real one. And once people see the real you, there is no going back. He cheated. I knew. And I waited. Because some people do not learn through warnings. They learn through loss. He thought I was the woman who would stay, cry, and forgive. He was wrong. I was the woman who watched, planned, and left him standing under his own lies. Empty apartment. Empty hand. Empty future. That night, he lost more than a proposal. He lost the only person still protecting him from himself. And the worst part? I don't think he understood that even then. But he will. Every time a room goes quiet when he walks in. Every time someone looks at him and remembers. Every time he tries to explain a story that no longer belongs to him. Because some revenge is loud. Mine was not. Mine was patient. Mine was polished. Mine was final. And if there's one thing life has taught me, it's this. When people mistake your silence for weakness, let them. The fall is always harder that way.